Today we're going to be talking about UV index and what it measures. Let's get started. There are three types of sun's UV radiation: UVA, UVB and UVC. UVC we don't have to worry about because it does not reach the Earth's surface. UVB, 10% of sun's UVB radiation reaches the Earth's surface. This is the radiation which is responsible for the sunburn. It also causes skin cancer. UVA, 90% of sun's UVA radiation reaches the Earth's surface. This is the radiation which penetrates into the deeper layers of skin, reaches the collagen and elastin, damages it and causes premature aging of the skin. This radiation also can cause skin cancer. So basically, both UVB and UVA are responsible for skin cancer. UV index, what is it? UV index measures the intensity, the strength of the UV radiation reaching the Earth's surface. The higher the number, the stronger the radiation. When it was first started, the UV index used to be from a scale of 1 to 10. And now it's been recognized that this number has to sometimes cross 10. And this was probably mainly because of Australia, because in Australia in summer months, this number can be upwards of 10. So what does this number mean? I'm just going to read it from my phone here. If the number is 11 and above, it means extreme. If it is between 8 to 10, it means it's very high. If it is between 6 and 7, it is high UV index. If it is between 3 and 5, it's moderate. If it's between 1 and 2, it's very low. So as we said, UV index, the higher the number, higher the strength of the radiation. Irrespective of what the UV index number is, the radiation can cause harm to the skin. Only the intensity of the harm varies depending on the number of the UV index. Now, if it is 6 and above, if the UV index is 6 and above, it is very dangerous to the skin. That does not mean if it is lower than 6, it is not dangerous. It is still harmful to skin, but if it is 6 and above, it is quite dangerous to the skin. Regular application of sunscreen, a hat, and sunglasses is a must when you go out in the sun. You cannot see or feel the UV index. Let's say it's not very hot outside. Let's say you don't feel the heat as much. That does not mean the UV index is low. The UV index number is no way related to the heat you feel. So it's not the heat you feel. It's not related to the heat you feel. So just because it doesn't feel very hot and you're going out between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., don't assume you don't need sunscreen or your sun hat or your sunglasses. So what does this UV index depend on? So first we know that it's dependent on the time of the day. It's usually higher between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Then the season. It's usually higher in summers than in winters. Then proximity of the location that you're living in to the equator. The closer you are to the equator, higher the UV index. And then if you're in the southern hemisphere, like in Australia, what happens is normally ozone layer, there's a thick blanket of ozone which acts as a blanket, ozone layer acts as a blanket between the sun's UV radiation and the Earth's surface. This blanket kind of absorbs most of the UV radiation. But in Australia, the ozone layer blanket is very thin. And because of that, most of the sun's UVB radiation, which is normally absorbed by this blanket of ozone layer, travels through this thin layer of ozone and reaches the Earth's surface. And that's why the UV index is quite high in Australia. And that's why the higher rates of skin cancer too in Australia. But of course, all that can be taken care of by regular application of sunscreen. The weather departments in most countries and states, they have their own website and they publish the UV index. What if you don't have access to the UV index? Is there something that can help you? Yes, there is. It's not 100% accurate, but it is something. It is something, so it's better than nothing. It's called the shadow rule. So next time when you're out in the sun, and if your shadow is smaller than your height, then you're in high UV index. And that's the time when you have to make sure your sunscreen is reapplied at regular intervals. So if your shadow's height is smaller than your height, then you know that you're in high UV index time. Last thing before I go, yes, we already mentioned application of sunscreen is important. It's a must. But reapplication of sunscreen, that's the thing what most people miss. So you've got to reapply the sunscreen at regular intervals. Otherwise, it's not effective. That's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye.